This channel is for entertainment purposes only, not to be taken as legal advice. Welcome back, everybody. It's Thursday. Wow, the week has gone by so quickly, and it's quite sunny here in Seattle. I appreciate you joining me once again today. A lot of exciting things at Creditor Academy as we're starting the new month of May. New things that come to the website, a lot of new people who have joined our masterclass memberships. And I really want to say that it's a very humbling experience meeting people from so many different backgrounds and different processes that you have all done. I got to tell you, from the beginning I started Creditor Academy, I still hold the same belief that I've learned more from interacting with other like-minded individuals within my community than I've ever learned than reading in a book. It's almost the same way that I feel listening to Patrick Devine. His experience and his processes that he put together ended up teaching me a lot more from his success and his failures. It's the same thing in this group. I hear all the time your success and your failures, more successes now recently than anything. And I encourage all of you who are not masterclass members that might be viewing our YouTube channel right now to get yourself surrounded within a community of like-minded people that want to help uplift one another. And you can do that by becoming a masterclass member of Creditor Academy on our website. You can go straight to the homepage, which is right here. And then you can scroll down and then you'll see our masterclass membership. Included with your masterclass membership is Sovereignty 101. I want everybody to have the basics of not only what we teach, but also for you to see the standard by which we teach here at Creditor Academy. Every class has instructors, we have modules, we have lesson plans, we have instructional designers, we have group sessions, we have group chats, and we have so many nuggets of knowledge that really are big. So Freshman Sovereignty 101 is your ability to really see the professionalism of the Academy before you go on to the rest of the years. If you want to continue throughout the Academy or even know what it is that we are here to teach, we're here to teach not only the basics, but also we're like a vocational school where we're actually, we want action. We want action. So sophomore become private is learn how to step out of the public and establish your affairs into the private. That's where we do the SPC, the status correction, the ID, and the badge. Now, documentation is only a small part of that. I remember a really good quote that or a really good movie that I saw. It was called The Tuxedo. You ever seen The Tuxedo with Jackie Chan, right? And so the tuxedo had magical powers. Well, not to spoil alert at the end of the movie, but by the time he got access over to the tuxedo or got it back, there was this little note inside of the tuxedo. And it said that the tuxedo itself, the magic tuxedo, only works, only is 30% of your true powers. The other 70% comes from you. It comes from you. It comes from within. It's the same thing. Documentation is just one thing, but the knowledge and the action plan, that 70% of their effectiveness is up to you. And that's what we teach you about. We give you the 30%. We give you the tuxedo to put on, to be in the private, to operate in the private, and to get access to your unlimited credits. But it's up to you on how you want to end up in using it. All right. So I hope that makes sense. So we're about to talk about a huge subject today. Before we get started, as always, if you haven't, hit the notification bell and subscribe to our YouTube channel or our private Facebook group. Now is the time to do it. Now, I had a big subject today. I love this subject because it's the bounty hunter remedy. Oh, Patrick Devine was killing it with this. So what I want to do is this a complicated subject to kind of explain? So I'm going to do my best to kind of break it up into sections here so then we have some understanding about the subject as a whole. I like to start off by just kind of talking about really how the bounty hunter came about, what it means to be a private attorney general, and really to bring about the America's forgotten enforcers. And because that's what they are. They're America's forgotten enforcers. I want to, before I even begin, put you in the right state of mind before I go into the historical reference of this. I want you to imagine you're in your neighborhood, okay? And you see your neighbor across the street and they're being robbed. Someone is breaking into their house. Whether your neighbor's in the house or away from their house, someone is violating your neighbor's property. So the question now becomes, is that individual who's breaking into your neighbor's house violating your neighbor, or are they violating your community? And what would you do? What would you do? Most individuals might call the police. They say, hey, you're violating my neighbor and the community. I'm going to call law enforcement to go ahead and enforce the law to bring this person to justice. Others might take personal accountability and say, I'm going over there to help out my neighbor. And then finally, some individuals would say, hey, I've been robbed before and I had to defend myself. So what I want to do is I want to premise that mind, because we have to start thinking like a community again, where we self-enforce. There's a saying in law enforcement. I remember when I was in the nursing field, I would hear this quite often, is that the saying goes, how's the saying go? Now I got to think. I put myself on the spot. It says, when we were fighting Britain, I want you to imagine that Britain is coming to United States soil. Okay. The United Yes, thank you so much. What is it? Could you guys hear me on my phone when I switch to that?
No, we just now heard you.
Oh, great.
I just told YouTube you was coming back.
I was coming back. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your patience, everybody. So I'll go into detail about this. Basically the bounty hunters are private citizens who could apprehend fugitives under the common law authority. And these individuals were not mere vigilantes, but actually acted with the consent of state executives. And their authority was embedded in the structure of the early republic. That structure of the early republic was God over we the people over the state over the federal government, and the federal government over the artificial entities, the straw man. That's what they are. I'll come back to that a little bit later. But the people themselves had the power to enforce law through local militias, the sheriffs, and the direct action. Okay. Now, the power by which that you get your bounty hunter status is based upon a Supreme Court decision that was in 1872 called Taylor versus Taintor case. Basically, the court ruled that a bail bondsman or an agent, had broad authority to pursue and arrest a fugitive. The ruling affirmed that such agents could operate across state lines, enter homes, and arrest individuals without traditional warrants. And your recognition gave the bounty hunter federal legitimacy. Federal legitimacy. You're federally recognized. That's why I have a federal identification number that's assigned to my bounty hunter status, which I'll get into more later. You have to be federally recognized like I am, because it's under the constitutional structure. And it's declared that their enforcement rights were not merely statutory, because they're foundational, linked to the original executive powers held by the people and their agents. That's the organic constitution, the original constitution. Okay, so imagine this. Okay, so good. I gave you a little bit of an overview. So imagine this. Britain is coming. They're in their red coats. They're absolutely everywhere. There's pandemonium and chaos all over the place. Then you win the war. You're done with the war, but there's holdouts. There's still lawlessness. There's crime and all of that. So now you're on edge. Your community's on edge. You're all like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I'm about to pop off on anybody who acts really strange or fishy around me, right? So the sense of heightened awareness of people's surroundings during that time versus now is completely different. People had a sense of being enforcers, enforcing the law and justice, because there was so much lawlessness that was going on all around. And so there was a better source of community that was around you. That's why bounty hunters and state militia were brought into power. They were brought into power by the permission of we the people. So we the people said, hey, I'm above the state, and we give the state the rights or the executive role to hire and vet and bring a part of the state militia. That makes sense? But the law enforcement powers are only granted by presidents and governors. Okay? So we the people assigned a president and a governor. We said we want structure, we want protection here in the United States. We want you to give command to this to the state to bring in an executive role to build our militia. Okay? All right. So what did the president during that time and the governors do? They recognized that the true sovereigns of the republic were, which is we the people, have derive the power to make this sort of an enforcement. So meaning we weren't going to get a militia from Canada, basically, right? We were going to come within these rights. So, but what if we're going to only choose we the people to fit these positions under this militia, under this bounty hunter? What constitutional laws give us the right to act upon this law enforcement authority? And that's where the Militia Acts came in. That came in the 18th and 19th centuries. Basically, every able-bodied man was expected to serve as part of the lawful force. And they were able to keep peace, pursue justice, and act in the defense of the republic. And they were given a legal backbone of that republic enforcement, which gave birth to Article 4 of the U.S. Constitution. It's the hidden bedrock of enforcement authority for bounty hunters and private attorney generals. It's under Section 2, Article 4, Section 2. In particular, it defines the extradition of fugitives between states and the protection of citizen privileges and immunities. So it establishes that anyone fleeing from justice, what if the guy, the neighbor, he's robbing, he's committing a crime, he is now fleeing from justice so he doesn't get caught from his crime. He must be returned now to the state having jurisdiction of that crime. And you just saw it. So you get in your car, you follow him, you enforce the justice by delivering him to the bailiff, so then the judge can rain justice on his actions. Okay? This is not only by bureaucratic procedure alone, but by executive authority. The president gave, and the governors gave you this directive authority. So this is why I always lead back to the historical context, because the state militia members are recognized as bounty hunters. Okay? State militia comprises of the Army, it comprises of the Navy, and I think it's the Air Force and the sheriffs. Okay? That's what they had at the time. Okay? So added to that was the Article 4. Article 4 just means it's the fourth branch of government. Okay? There's the executive, there's the legislative, and there's the judicial branch. But what's the fourth branch of government? That's we the people. We the people have just as many powers, if not more, than the people that we elected to power. So what are those powers? It's one of those powers, just one of those powers is law enforcement. We, as Article 4, are part of the militia. That's why we have the right to bear arms. You ever think about that? Try going to Texas and you shoot a guy for, coming on your property and violating your property rights. You're acting as the militia of your private property. Okay? All right. So we need to guarantee a republic form of government. But so what I'm trying to say is the most overlooked but powerful section of Article 4, we just looked at Section 2, which is your privileges and immunities. But the other part is Section 4, not Section 2 and Section 4. It mandates that the United States shall guarantee to every state a republic form of government and protect against invasion and domestic violence. And the republic form of government is one where power is held by the people and exercised through representatives and agents who are accountable to them. So the bounty hunter and the private attorney general, I'll kind of talk about the private attorney general here in a moment, are the enforcers of constitutional law and are acting under this guarantee to ensure that justice is not outsourced to private corporate tribunals or foreign controlled bar associations that are maintained by the loyal republic. And that's your problem, man. You guys are arguing about driving around and the cops stepping on you. I'm not a driver, I'm a traveler. Or, hey, how is it that you can trample on my rights in this way? You can silence me and throw me in jail in other countries. Other countries don't have the privileges of freedom of speech and other things like that. They're private corporations. And that's how we got duped. We gave away our private rights under the state militia and outsourced it to a private corporation because they wanted to exchange a benefit to us that at the time, I don't know if we were stupid or lazy, to where we just said, oh, I don't have to do the work anymore. I don't have to stand on edge. I don't have to be aware of my surroundings. I don't need to be looking out for my neighbor or my community. You mean I just can Netflix and chill? Shit, sign me up. Yeah, I'll pay for a police force, a private corporate police force that I don't have any say or control over, that can violate my rights in any way and can write me tickets everywhere that I go and can enforce what they think I should be doing by gunpoint. Those are the bar associates, man. That's what Patrick Devine's talking about, is you gave away your power. Gave away your power. And then you get FEMA in there. How many times you hear of a natural disaster like in Asheville, North Carolina last year? FEMA comes in, and what do? They freaking, bring a helicopter over all the medical supplies and all that and the food ration resources, and it flies around everywhere. And they block the road so that you can't go give help and aid or whatever. And if you try to enforce and say, hey, no, I'm here to help people, they got you at gunpoint and they got helicopters. They're a private corporation. See the slippery slope? I can even go further than that. Forget the police, forget FEMA. How about the FBI? How about the Central Intelligence Agency? Think about the 007s and the 006s. I got a license to kill. You know what I mean? Hey, you can even go as far as the military. Think about martial law. Huh? They got tanks. They got all that. So you bringing back this militia that Patrick's talking about is super important, because at the end of the day, I don't care how many sheriffs there are. I don't care how many military people there are. I don't care how many FEMA agents, CIA agents, FBI agents there are. There are a million times more the amount of individuals that are armed in this country than all of those put together. Way more. Way more. So we have a lot of power. So just saying. So now that I talked about the bounty hunter, now let me give you the rise of the private attorney general, okay? And the concept of the private attorney general really emerged out of a necessity when government officers failed to enforce the law. Well, yeah, because they're private corporations, right? Especially in civil rights and anti-corruption efforts, because the U.S. jurisprudence, particularly under Title 42 U.S.C. 1983, Chapter 1983, and there's some other statutes as well, citizens may sue and enforce rights on behalf of public interest. Okay? Citizens may sue and enforce rights on behalf of the public interest. The courts recognize this authority because the cases such as Newman versus Piggy Park Enterprises, that was in the 60s, like 1968, they acknowledge that private citizens could pursue actions that serve the broader public good. And the private attorney general acts not for personal gain alone, but as a lawful guardian of the people's interests. And this is echoing the same spirit of as the bounty hunter. Okay? So, two powerful positions. A lot going on, a lot of good pride and strength in our country. So now, where did the destruction come? How did they get these private corporations in here? Well, what they did is they did it through the law of commercial codes. Over time, the original organic constitutional rules were supplanted by the rise of administrative courts and commercial code systems, especially through, you guessed it, the UCC. This established what's called the BAR, the British Accredited Registry. That's what I call it, okay? It's the British Accredited Registry Association. I call them that because they're foreign, They don't have our best interests at heart. And the spread of the commercial courts posing a judicial forum's lawful enforcement by the people was pushed into the background. And the Constitution, but even though the Constitution never changed, and the lawful authority of the people to arrest, prosecute, and enforce justice through bounty hunting and public law actions, it still remains intact under Article 4 and the natural law of the Republic, but now it was circumvented from lawful to legal. We went over legal last time. What the legalese. So what about the bounty hunting versus the commercial enforcement today? Basically, modern bounty hunting, because this is a popular for Dog the Bounty Hunter. Dog the Bounty Hunter. Gosh, I love that show. But modern bounty hunting is viewed as a part of private bail bond industry. Okay, it's private. But the true constitutional bounty hunting is much broader. It includes any lawful, not illegal, action to bring justice to those who flee their obligations to the Republic or violate its laws. In contrast, the commercial agents, the commercial bounty hunters, including not just the bounty hunters, but including the judges and the attorneys acting under the bar license, because they're all bar licensed, all of them, the bounty hunter, the judges, and the attorneys, okay? Enforce private contracts, not constitutional justice. What are those private contracts? Your Sister KV Trust. It's all your licenses and these entrapments that they get you in. The true bounty hunter operates under Article 4 authority, not under corporate jurisdiction, and acts to preserve the Republic against the foreign administrative or overreach, which is that British accredited registry. Okay? So, You need to know about lawful seizure and your militia rights, okay, if you're going to enforce this, because the constitutional bounty hunters were also considered part of the citizen militia. So you got the state militia, then you got the citizen militia. I'd say that's a little bit higher. If you basically have the right to bear arms and enforce the law. It's the Second Amendment and your Article 1, Section 8 that gave Congress the power to organize, arm, and discipline militias, but enforcement remained local, okay? Thus, those acting as bounty hunters within the constitutional structure had every right to pursue justice, to protect themselves, and to seize criminals or corrupt officials when local governments failed to act. You ever heard of people saying, I'm putting you under citizen's arrest? That's a real thing. That's a powerful thing. That's a constitutional thing. Not just because some Karen, you blocked her a little bit in her parking spot, you're under citizen's arrest. I see so many memes about that. That's funny. But yeah, the wrong way to use it. But this authority was not granted, again, by a license, but by law. And it's rooted in the duty of every citizen to uphold the republic. In today's world, there is complete and utter bureaucratic control. There's foreign legal codes and administrative enforcement. And the role of the constitutional bounty hunter and the private attorney general has never been more vital, because the republic faces an infiltration by commercial entities posing as government. And only those grounded in constitutional law can push back. Article 4 is not a relic, it's a sword. It's the guarantee of a Republican form of government, and lawful enforcement by the people is not merely a right, it really is a responsibility. When you see your neighbor getting robbed, you have a responsibility to act. The bounty hunter is not dead, he's just sleeping. And now it's time for you guys to awaken. And this is why we have this as a part of the academy. This is what sophomore year at Creditor Academy is all about. It's for you to not just do status correction, but to understand your true power and identity and your enforcement control over your private contracts, your instruments, as well as to show your authority over these private corporations. That's why on the badge, it not only it says a bounty hunter and a private attorney general, both on the badge, and it's mirrored in the same with your identification. If you look at your private ID, it says your bounty hunter and your private attorney general in there. And not only that, but these are just pieces of plastic. This is pieces of aluminum. It has absolutely no power for you to become a bounty hunter and enforce your roles unless you invoke your rights. You have to invoke or declare the laws of the republic. That's what status correction is all about. Status correction is to put you into the right place under the republic so you can utilize this enforcement and be smart about how to use it properly. That's why I say the tuxedo is only 30%. It's only the paperwork does 30% of the job. It's your knowledge and your action of how to use the paperwork that brings it power. This is why you can't just trust another guru network that's just going to give you templates, because it's not going to help you. We're here to help you. Creditor Academy is almost 50 full-time staff dedicated to helping you on your educational journey to bring back the laws of the Republic, to get you back in your natural state of being, not as a state government, not as a federal employee, not as an artificial entity, but an individual, a living man or woman under God. It's restoring God's order. And I would love nothing more than to go on that journey with you. If you find the information valuable here at Creditor Academy, I implore you to not only subscribe to our channel, but to be a part of this community of bounty hunters, private attorney generals, and enforcers of those who want to see the Republic come back. Join us today and make the decision, make the time investment to go ahead and educate yourself, so then we can all work on the same vision and dream together. Because that's what my dream is. And if you agree with my dream and vision, I would love to have you along with us. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today on YouTube. I look forward to seeing you. It's a fun time at Creditor Academy. Live courses and instructors every single week, every single day of the week, really. And it's an exciting, and it's super great to see this channel and our organization grow. Until next time, everybody on YouTube, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, amazing. What did you think of that?
Oh, my